And now, the host of Aaron's Hour, Aaron Phillips.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me here on this fine Saturday. That's right, it is Saturday. I don't even know what day it is. It's August 3rd, I believe. Getting ready. Labor Day is a month away. That means kids will be getting ready to go back to school. Here in Virginia Beach, school opens up August 19th. And I believe those of you back there in Vegas, you guys will start about a week before that, if I'm not incorrect on that date, if memory serves. Either way, thank you for joining me here this morning. As you see, Aaron Zoer. Hold on a second. Folks, my guest today is having a little trouble logging in, but we're going to get her on before we get into come back from our first break. Thank you for watching us, whether you're watching me on Facebook. You can be watching me on the page, of course, Aaron's Hour Show, or the WWDB TV Las Vegas Facebook page. Of course, on YouTube, Aaron's Hour Show, WWDB TV on YouTube. And then, of course, in about 2 to 3 days, just download Roku if you don't have it. If you have Roku, then download the WWDB TV channel to Roku. You can check out the plethora of show options that you have, and you can enjoy all of my shows. You got wrestling, you got Kiwanis Connects, you got John's show, Doing It with Styles. He's got a lineup. If you're a Star Trek fan, by the way, you may want to just keep an eye on John's upcoming shows, because he was at the Star Trek convention, or is, this weekend, and he's lining up some guests he was sharing with me related to Star Trek. So be prepared for that. Thank you for tuning in. Our phone number, 702-992-3207. That call goes right to John in the studio, patches me in, and we can talk from coast to coast. And it is, yes, Aaron's Hour, coast to coast, because as always, we talk about the news and events of going on. Still back there in Las Vegas, of course, 27 years. I got my roots there. And now, of course, here in Virginia Beach, where I am planting new roots, meeting a ton of people every day. As a matter of fact, right after the show, Clarence Neely, who was on my show a couple of weeks ago, is actually receiving an award for all of his years in broadcasting. So I'm going to go down, join him, and support him in that venture. So meeting people, getting that network started again, getting the roots planted so I can bring you the best of Virginia Beach, as well as continuing to bring you the best of Las Vegas with the help of John, of course. We'll get some people lined up still from both sides of the coast and keep this thing moving forward. Hey, put some comments out there. Let me see who's out there this morning. I'd appreciate it. And also, too, share the feed. Let your friends and family know what you're watching, who you're watching. And then this way you can join in. And I'm just bringing this thing up on my phone, and we can get to it. Mr. John, I know you're hiding back there in the office. Why don't you pop on for a minute and two? Let's say good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
I'm outstanding.
Well, get inside. It's a lot cooler then.
Yes, it is. How are you?
You know what? I'm doing okay. Doing all right. So
you getting settled?
Slowly. It's like putting those square pegs into round holes. You know what I'm saying?
That figures.
That's what it's like. So getting used to things, getting used to that humidity. I was telling John before we went on the air, today is the third day in a row, and I'm knocking on as much wood as I possibly can, where we are actually not seeing any rain here in Virginia Beach today thus far. Although later on today, there's always a chance of thunderstorms because we have this thing called humidity. So yesterday, a quick drowning of rain hit us at about 6 o'clock. My wife and I were out having dinner, John, and we were in this restaurant. All of a sudden, sheets of rain for literally about 5 minutes, like Florida or Vegas sometimes. And it was done and it was gone. But just enough to make the humidity even higher, because, boy, we walked out of the restaurant, the glasses steamed up, the fog steamed up once you hit outside with all that rain.
I have a quick question about back there.
Sure.
Talking about all that rain, how many car washes do they have in town, or do they have any?
Yeah, it is so funny that they actually do. And I've seen probably about 4 different company names so far around town. It's so funny you say that, because a lot of people still go down to the shoreline and the ocean front, so all that salt air still hits the cars.
Oh, okay, all right.
And I can't imagine.
And that's why it rains.
That's right. That's why it rains. And speaking of
which, these people taking their car to the car wash, so that's why it rains.
That's right. Stop going to the car wash, folks. But I learned this valuable lesson this week, ladies and gentlemen, because in Vegas, John, you probably have this at your home, something called a sprinkler system to take care of your lawn, right?
Absolutely.
See, back there, it's a given, right? It's like a law. You have to have a sprinkler system. So out here, folks, I was seeing some water draining off my flower bed out in the front, and automatically I'm thinking it was maybe a sprinkler head, because I'm thinking there's a drip system or something in the flower bed. Call the local, we'll just say irrigation sprinkler company. They came out. Now, it didn't dawn on me till the tech, John, was walking around with me that I did not realize that there were no sprinkler heads along the lining of the lawn. None of the pop-ups, nothing. So we're walking around the property. We're looking for the control box for timers and everything. We're not finding a blessed thing. And so we came to the realization that, guess what? I ain't got no sprinkler system. But of course,
wait. So didn't the guy that you were walking with kind of give you some side eye? It's like, what the hell's the matter with you, man?
Well, actually, you know what? I was kind of half expecting that. And I'll give him a prop. His name is Javon. I won't mention the company, otherwise I have to bill them for a commercial. But nice young guy. And he said, he said, it's not uncommon that people automatically think, because out in front, I have like this well thing that looks like it has a spout on it that could have been the sprinkler system. But we're looking for the box and he's looking. And finally, as we're talking, and I did thank him at the end saying, thank you for not laughing at a new homeowner for not realizing I realized I had no sprinkler system. So he was cool about it. And I appreciate his honesty and upfront about that. In the meantime, folks, I am still waiting for our guest to log in. She's at a library here in Virginia Beach. She's having some trouble logging in. Her phone is not sustaining the link, so she's trying to get connected with her laptop there and getting all the passwords. But my guest, hopefully, coming online so that we can get started after the break. Her name is Reverend Dr. Vanessa McCoy Owens. For more than 40 years, she's been using her talent of her powerful singing voice with the ability to speak goodness into the lives of others. As well, she uses her skills of an entrepreneur who has collaborated with other professionals who have the vision of helping to build a world that works for everyone. And she was a founder of an organization here in town, Martin Luther King Jr. Family Life Center, which she was the founder, which helps persons reentering society after incarceration, at-risk youth ages 12 to 21, who needed interventions of food, clothing, and shelter. So she's very much involved in the community here, and we'll hopefully have her on here after the break. All right, with that, last week I didn't get a chance to go over some winning, so it is now time for Vegas Unwrapped 2.0.
With a nod to the past and an eye to the future, here is Aaron Phillips with Vegas Unwrapped 2.0.
I didn't realize how much I missed that theme song after not hearing it for a week. But anyway, so really, I found an article for last week's show that I never got to, and which made me realize I haven't heard much about the wildfires out in Cali much since we talked about it on the show. So, John, maybe at some point you can bring me up to speed. So because of all that conversation, and Chief called and Rick Upchurch called in, there were a lot of winners recently there in Las Vegas. And I'm just going to highlight, I don't know how many, I got like 25 pages of information. I won't go through all of them, but let's start at the Aliante up there in the North Las Vegas area. That's up near where Chief is. So he's holding down the fort. A guest up there won $10,000 on a slot machine. So that's not a bad start. Binions. A 50-cent spin at Binions won somebody a jackpot of just shy of $15,000. How's that? 50 cents turning into 15,000. That is not bad, right? Boulder Station. Somebody on the Deuces Wild slot machine hit for $20,000 recently. That's not bad either there. Let's see what other ones we have here. Hopefully all of these things, by the way, help stimulate the Las Vegas economy, which they do. Of course, remember, Las Vegas is not built on winners. So for every winner, there's more losers than a winner. But Boulder Station, again, they seem to be the hot spot during this period. Buffalo Link, that's right, another slot machine. Somebody hit there for $13,300. So they landed pretty good there. Let's see. Also Boulder Station, Kismet Cat Whisper Wheels. Somebody won there just shy of $12,000. Crazy Chicken slot machine. Of course, I have my own visions as to what that means. Somebody won there at $11,000. Not bad for a little cash in there. And that person won on July 5th, my birthday. So they celebrated my birthday with a nice jackpot win. Bankbuster, another one at Boulder Station, $11,500. We now switch to Caesar's Palace. That's right there in the heart of the strip. Lucky Caesar Rewards guest won a $142,000 jackpot playing the Dragon Link slot machine. That's not bad, huh? The California Hotel, nothing to report there. How about the Cannery? You know, people forget down there on Boulder Highway. Well, no, there's the Cannery up in North Las Vegas near the highway. And then, of course, there's the one down on Boulder. I think this is the one up in North Las Vegas. A winner there cashed in for $11,000 a week ago. Let's see. Four Queens downtown. Hey, they're checking in. Cheers to a California player who struck gold, winning over $23,000, not on one, but two jackpots down there at the Four Queens. Let's see. A $16,000 slot also set the pace down there for Four Queens before that winner actually hit for their double jackpot. Out at the Gold Coast, how about this one? 80 cents. Right now, everybody, check your pockets, check your ashtrays, check your armrests in your car. You pile together 80 cents. If you go down to the Gold Coast, somebody hit a grand progressive on a slot machine, $11,186. That's not a bad return for 80 cents. You notice on the screen under my name, Reverend Dr. Vanessa McCoy Owens. She is our guest, expected to come in here momentarily, hopefully after the break. She's trying to connect with her laptop at the library, and hopefully we'll get her online, or she'll call in and we'll do a phone interview if need be. But she's a great lady. We had a chance to chat earlier this week as we got to know each other, and we'll share her knowledge and how she's supporting not only Virginia Beach, but of course the world. How about the Orleans? That's right, not the singing group, the Orleans, although they did have good music. Orleans down there, check out amazing. Somebody run a $20,333,000 Royal Flush win during the table, one of the table games down there. Palace Station, not to be outdone. Ultimate X Poker Jackpot, $14,000. I feel like I'm reading off like I'm at a whatchamacallit, like a telethon here or something. Also at the Rampart, John, a lucky local, just snagged $10,000 in the $50,000 red, white, and win drawing, which I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that they were doing some of this mixed multiple winners. But wait, there's more. A huge shout out to another jackpot winner who took home two jackpots, one at $20,970 and another one for $13,086. Not a bad haul of about $34,000 for one day's work at the Rampart up there in the Summerlin area. Let's go down south. How about the South Point? Someone on bingo, a gentleman by the name of Gary, hit for $10,000 on a cover-all max bonus. I don't know if you all or how many of you play bingo out there, but being able to cover the whole board, that's patience and endure and being able to endure a lot. But be that as it may, that is not a terrible thing to have. All right, John, I see your message. Are we visual or are we on the phone? If you would just type that response in and let me know where we're at with that, we'll get that going. Also at the Sunset Jackpot Carnival Grand Bonus, congratulations to a lucky winner who placed a total bet of 70 cents and hit for almost $12,000. All right, so our guest is on the line. So what I'd like to do, John, we'll get into some of those White House facts later on during the show with our guest. Since she's ready to go, let's transition to our first break, if you would, John. When we come back on the other side, Reverend Dr. Vanessa McCoy Owens will be joining us talking about how she helps the community get themselves together and hopefully form a much more united community and living in peace. I'm Aaron Phillips. We are Coast to Coast. We'll be right back.
Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you stressed? Remember to take a moment for your mental health. At the Mental Health Moment, we believe in the power of self-care and community support. Our mission is to encourage and empower individuals across generations to prioritize their mental well-being. Through community, awareness, resources, and education, or CARE, we're here to support you every step of the way. Join us at the Mental Health Movement. Visit our website, thementalhealthmoment.org, or follow us on our social media platforms, because your mental health matters. Remember, take a moment for your mental health.
Hi, I'm John P.G. Stiles. Some people call me JPEG. You can probably guess why. I'm the founder and partner at WWDB TV. Does your business need a commercial, or do you already have one and you just want to get the message out there? Do you need a sizzle reel? Do you need an audition tape for a part that you're up for? Or have you ever thought about hosting your own show? Well, this is the place, WWDB-TV.
All right, welcome back to Aaron's Hour, Coast to Coast. Man, I miss seeing that homeless guy in that commercial. In all seriousness, though, if you want some great work, video work, doing your own show support, WWDB-TV is where it's at. And if you need help producing a show, not only can John help you, but I also can help you from afar. I do have podcast training classes that are eligible as well. All right, John, can you pop on the screen for a second? Wow, this is like calling data to show up.
What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Huh? I'm busy back here, man. Get to the point. What do you want?
Is our guest ready?
Oh, yeah, she's ready. She's been, kind of giving me hand signals like, come on, let's go. I'm sitting here.
All right, well, let's do it. Let's bring her on then before we lose her with that connection.
Okay. Stand by here.
There we go. All right. Now joining me here in a moment, there she is, Dr. Reverend Vanessa McCoy Owens. Hello there, Dr. Vanessa. How are you?
Yes. Good morning. I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So are you did you get connected on your laptop?
I got connected on my iPad. Yeah, that works better.
Perfect. Absolutely.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
thank you for
Yes.
You have a title that could cover a business card front and back. So I just wanted to ask, what's the best way for me to address you during our interview time?
I prefer Dr. V.
All right, you got it. Sounds like another Dr. V I do a show with, my Kiwanis Connect show, Dr. Val. All right, Dr. V, thank you again for joining me. Appreciate it. I looked at your website. I looked at your Facebook page. Of course, we had a chance to chat. I want to thank Richard Morris from the Virginia Beach Kiwanis Club. Recommended I reach out to you and we should chat, and how he insisted on making certain you and I chat so I can bring you on board. You are also a fellow Kiwanian of that club as well, but this is not a Kiwanis show. That's Fridays. So I want to focus on all that you do. In particular, he mentioned to me, of course, your Martin Luther King Jr. Family Life Center. We'll get into that. So you've been doing what you've been doing for about 40 years, according to your bio. Is that correct?
About 47 years.
Okay. So what was this is the softball question I always like to ask to kind of let everyone, what was your aha moment in your life 40 years ago when you realized that what you're doing now is a path that you want to do as to where your passion is to help society?
I would have to say identification. I could identify with the people that I saw seemingly what we would call the walking dead, because at one point in my life, I emulated that. That was my mirror moment. And I knew that if it took all of that for me to get free and to be productive and help my community and my family, I had to advocate for those who had no one to advocate for them.
Gotcha. So
I had to become an advocate, yes.
No, absolutely. So I don't want names, details, or anything, but there's always a first. What was the first situation that you were involved with that you had success that really set forth your current path to saying, okay, this confirms I know what I'm doing and I can help people? What was the first situation that you get involved with to help a family, a person? What was the scenario?
Probably my soup, soap, and salvation deal. We had a family that were in need, and coming from a Christian background or a religious background, we were taught years ago that our ultimate goal was to lead a person to the Lord. And I knew that I couldn't give nobody a better way of living if they were hungry and if they were homeless. So therefore, I needed more than a written script. I needed to be able to navigate some of the basic needs, the emergency needs then. You know, a lot of people say, well, let Jesus do it, or, you know, let the welfare lead you and Jesus feed you. But sometimes you've got to be all those things in one person. And our first aha moment was when we met a family that literally were sleeping in a car. And we had to do something about it. We didn't want to separate the family. We didn't want to turn the parents in because they fell on hard times. But we knew that we had to do something. That was my aha moment, that first family.
I always find it interesting when I talk to when I interview folks or just meet interesting people throughout my just walk around in life. I'm always intrigued by that aha moment, because like for me, I went into college to be a doctor. Being Jewish, that's what's expected in the family, doctor or a lawyer. That's how we were brought up. Well, it didn't happen that way, and so it took me 18. Well, as of 18, almost 19 years ago now, is when my calling came about as my passion to do what I do now. I'm not trained in it. I didn't go to a school for communications. I'm self-taught. But because of my work in Kiwanis, where I've stood in front of groups of 5 to 5,000, I've been able to take that passion to communicate and do what I do today. So it's interesting how a lot of people start one way, then they have that aha moment or something happens, say, all right, time for this exit over here, and redirect myself onto a new road. This question may be hard to quantify, so I'll leave it up to you. So how you want to answer before we get into some more of the specific details of some of the things that you do. In the course of all your work and all these 40 plus years that you've been doing this, can you ballpark how many families or individuals that you may have touched in some way to help them?
We have serviced tens of thousands of individuals, and we have on purpose tracked the families. So far, we've been able to keep together at least 40,000 families. And what that means is that you could have a situation that a husband had to work, or for instance, we work with struggling families and at-risk youth. We work with men and women returning to society from recently being incarcerated. So when they come out, there are at least 6 things against them. And the law says if you don't have a job, then you break probation. And one of the major responsibilities for us in keeping the family together, whether the father made enough money to meet the needs or not, but he had to show that activity. So that would probably, I would think that would be the classic as far as numbering. We ran for at least 25 years. We're celebrating 25 years of service through the Martin Luther King Family Life Center. And just keep this in mind, prior to becoming a community life center, we had a church. And the deal was a group of men came to us one day and they said, we like what you're doing. We're seeing results. You're keeping the kids off the streets. And you're very, very, you're an advocate for the community, but we won't help you if you're a church, because if we put our money on your table, then you can do anything you want to do with it. But if you become a 501c3, a community service group, then there is some type of accountability. So our numbers run concurrently together. It never stopped. We just put up another tent.
Gotcha.
So did that answer that?
Yeah. So the 40,000 folks that you've touched, is that all around the world? Is that just here in Virginia Beach? Is it a worldwide support of those 40,000?
In families that would be, no, in families that would probably be the United States.
Okay.
I've not entered into, because although I'm a humanitarian, we didn't count numbers. We didn't count families that way overseas. It was always a mission for peace, or for building houses. Now, it may have affected those families, but I didn't have access to those numbers. So approximately 40,000 families in the United States. Well, and the bulk of our time, the last 25 years of our time, was spent in Pennsylvania.
And so I have a degree in mathematics. Woohoo! I can divide that, helping 1,000 families a year over 40 years is a tremendous number that may seem small in the relationship to our population in our country, but those are 40,000 people that would not have had a lending hand, and who knows where they would have been without the support. That 1,000 families a year getting the support from you on average, I think is tremendous. I have goosebumps as I'm saying this, because as a Kiwanian, we do that. We do that naturally, but we don't, as an individual organization like the club that you and I belong to, the best of my knowledge, we love to help people, but I don't know if 1,000 people a year is a number that the club has hit per year. again, 1,000 families a year affected is a heck of a support mechanism for these folks.
Now, keep in mind, Aaron, I'm not just at the center. I am an international, national and international speaker. And I go to schools, I go to community centers, I go to churches. And this is the one thing that I know the most out of life. And that is that whenever you ask any major sports, accomplished sports athlete, you'll ask them the question, who had the most
impact
effect on you in your life? Now, one man said that everything that I needed to know, I learned in kindergarten, but everybody didn't get to go to kindergarten. In fact, Richard Morris didn't go to kindergarten. I didn't know that, but he shared that particular advantage wasn't his, but they will say it was either a teacher or it was my next door neighbor, or it was the scout leader. It was somebody that made a significant change in their lives. They weren't there during the entire molding process, but they spoke into their lives. They did something that caused them to think for the rest of their lives, this is how I'd like to be, and this is how I'd like for life to turn out. And let me just add this one thing, Aaron. We found out that there are 5 resiliency factors that children need. They need a relationship with a caring and trusted adult. They need somebody to hold personal accountability to. They need to engage in activities. They need an opportunity to give back to the community, and they need consistency.
Yep.
So at any given time, you can be one of those resilient factors. You can teach one of those resilient factors to anybody, any youth that you interact with.
Well, I spent 35 years in the school district as a substitute teacher and tutor, and on the elementary level is where I always spent the majority of my time. There's nothing more fun than creating that relationship with an elementary school student that maybe doesn't have a male figure in their life, or a father figure that you just had. My wife just retired from nearly 40 years of education, ending the last 15 as an assistant principal. So
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, she wanted to move here as part of her retirement. I had to follow the money. You know what I'm saying? I just had to come. But so I want to share. I'm glad, and you went down the road I was hoping you would, talking about that you're international. I want to give our audience some perspective on that. So you have spent some time as a humanitarian effort in war-torn Lagos, Nigeria, as well as helping build a school in Bolivia, South America. Your ministry continued into foreign missions in Cancun, Mexico, Tokyo, Japan, Stuttgart, Germany, South Korea, and Rome, Italy. And you answered the call by kneeling in prayer in Hudson, Haiti, to preaching on the Sea of Galilee. So I'm glad you talked about that, because that was just some examples. And so you're following my lead very well on that question directly. Very good. All right, we are closing in on the bottom of the hour. So before we go to our bottom of the hour break, and I'm purposely taking a break a little bit earlier because I want to make sure we leave enough time on the back end of the show to get into everything. So I did give you a heads up during our phone chat that I'd be throwing some curveball questions out at you, because I want my audience to get to know you as the person behind what you do. So here's the first couple of questions. Number 1, who is your favorite actor of all time?
Meryl Streep.
Okay. So that would be your favorite actress in my mind. Who would be your favorite?
Oh, you said actor. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Actor would be Denzel Washington, actor.
That's okay, because my next question is favorite female actress. So you're fine. But it's so funny about the male, because I think John back in the studio can back me up on this. We hear Denzel Washington more times really than any other male actor name that any of my guests ever bring up, which is kind of interesting. I love Denzel. He's terrific.
Yes.
All right, next question. Speaking of actors and actresses, what is your all-time favorite movie, so that when it is on TV, streaming, or whatever, you sit with and grab whoever you want to enjoy the movie with, you grab some snacks and drinks, you, I don't say turn your cell phone off, but kind of leave it off to the side. What movie is that for you that you just kind of allow yourself to disappear for a couple of hours to enjoy?
Well, I'd have to tell you, I have 2. The first would be Beaches with Bette Midler, and the second would be The Great Debaters. with Denzel
Wow.
Washington.
But yeah, I'm not surprised Denzel would be in a movie. Come on now. What's your favorite music genre?
I like it all. I like it all in the contents of it. Building it, it soothes, it heals, it brings excitement. I do not care for vulgarity. I do not care for songs that demise and dehumanize people and belittle them at no stage in life. So
No, I agree with that. I like songs that actually have messages
yes.
that are positive. All right. So last question before we go to break that I'm going to ask you regarding music. So what is your all-time favorite song so that while you're driving around town, you hear it coming up on the radio, you're at a red light, you're stopped. You don't care what the folks in the cars next to you are seeing as you're bebopping along like who knows what to what song? What is that for you?
Oh gosh.
That's why I ask the tough questions around here.
That is a tough one because I'm a lover of music, but my most favorite song that allows me to feel is The Sound of Music. I know you weren't ready for that, but it is. I love it. I love Julie Andrews and I love The Sound of Music.
Absolutely.
That can rock me steady in a pinch, in a good place or a bad place.
Right on. And there was a lot of great tunes that came out of that movie. So there's,
yes,
The Hills Are Alive with The Sound of Music, no matter
with
what.
The Sound of Music, yes.
And I want to get into your singing because you and I never even talked about that. I didn't know that you sing, and I see that in your bio. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, This message from the Kiwanis Club of Virginia Beach, calling all golfers out there. If you're in the Virginia Beach area, if you're down in the Carolinas, Myrtle Beach, or those of you back in Vegas who are looking for a getaway to come golf in Virginia Beach, the Kiwanis Club of Virginia Beach on Friday, September 6th is having their 43rd annual golf tournament at the Andy Bacuzzi Jim Joyner Charity Golf Tournament. These individuals are past officers of Kiwanis in the area. So the money, all proceeds go to some of the organizations that the Kiwanis Club of Virginia Beach supports, such as Patriot Paws, which is service dog for disabled vets, annual Special Olympics fishing event, St. Mary's Home for the Disabled Children, Tidewater Friends of Foster Care, the Rescue Squad. Listen, guys, it's only $100 per player. $100. You know what else it includes? Playtime, cart, lunch, and prize drawings. That's right. The time, let's see, if you want more information, H.L. Marks is who you call. He's the tournament director, 757-672-2222. That's 757-672-2222. The timing of the event, I had it highlighted here. Registration starts at 10:30, 11 a.m. lunch first, so we fuel you up with all those carbs that you then go out and golf and sweat out with the humidity. Shotgun start at 11:45, and then at 4:30, it's a 50-50 drawing and prizes. So please come help support the Virginia Beach Kiwanis Club golf outing on September 6th. You can message me if you need those details. All right, with that, we're going to step aside for a couple more messages, then come back with Dr. V. We'll be right back.
Some estimates say that someone in the United States has a stroke every 40 seconds. Rocky, please share with us your experience.
Aaron, as we all think we are invincible, after playing baseball for 12 years and never missing a game, I had a stroke while I was umpiring. It put a new perspective on life for me. No more golf, bowling, dancing, or most importantly, playing catch with my grandchildren. Please listen to your own body warnings. Pay attention and watch for your family and your friends. Watch for those warning signs. You are not invincible.
Derek, what are some of the symptoms and signs we should be aware of?
The simple rules to remember: the be fast rule. Balance, beware of loss of balance. Eyes, check for vision loss. Face, check if one arm is weak or numb. Speech, listen for slurred speech. Time, call 911 immediately if there's treatment available if it's within 3 hours.
John, what are some of the resources that folks have available for them?
There are several stroke support groups available to stroke survivors and their caregivers. Many of the stroke support groups you can attend can be accessed on your computer via Zoom. The stroke groups we support are located at the bottom of the screen.
This message was proudly brought to you by the following: the Kiwanis Club of Laguna Elk Grove, the Kiwanis Club of Oakland, and the Kiwanis Club of Palo Alto.
Are you looking for someone to provide training to your staff? Do you need a motivational speaker about how to handle change? Do you have an upcoming event that needs an MC to handle those responsibilities? Well, look no further than longtime Las Vegas radio personality Aaron Phillips. I am local to Las Vegas, and I can blend my talents with any audience. For more information, please visit www.aaronphillipsvoice.com and book me for your next event or training needs.
All righty, welcome back. Thank you, my friends there from Kiwanis Clubs out in Cali for the stroke awareness. And of course, if you want to learn more about what I can do to help you in your business, let my voice speak to you. AaronsHour.Vegas is the best website. You can also find me on Facebook. I did write a book called Let My Voice Speak to You about my health journey with my wife, but it's not about me today. By the way, hello, Rick Upchurch out there, my bud. It is about my guest today, Dr. V. She is the founder of the Martin Luther King Jr. Family Life Center. So let's transition into that. I'll save my singing questions for a little bit later. So talk about how the Life Center came about, how long it's been established, and let's talk about what that does.
Well, I tipped on it earlier. The community at the time, we were in Lebanon, Pennsylvania, and the elders of the community saw what a difference we were making at the church. We were gathering the young people and getting them engaged. In fact, we had the very first set of steppers to perform in the parade. So we did some really neat things, but it was a struggle. And some of the gentlemen, some of the men, some of the pastors in the community came to me. And they said to me, well, first of all, they admitted that they had put a bet out, and the bet was that I wouldn't last for longer than a year. And I'm still standing, yeah. But then they said, we want to help you, but we'll help you if you become an organization, a national organization that we can pour into, because we're not going to help you as a church. So that was the transition. But we just started gathering kids off the streets. Meeting the basic needs, soup, soap, and salvation. You know, it wasn't about, it is always about God, but it was about human kindness. It was about showing love, showing mercy, compassion, advocating for those that had no one to advocate for them. So that was how we began, and word got out. You know, Lebanon at that time, back in the mid 90s, you had maybe a population of 134,000. In the whole county, but the concentration of the poverty level was in the city, and we had to deal with the children in the city. So it was quite a bit, and they weren't meeting that need. You know, it was, you had a population of maybe 3% African American and maybe 12% Hispanics, and there weren't any organizations. You had the local Y, but it did not meet the needs of the youth in the community. It was an overwhelming need. I'm gonna put it that way. Okay.
And
that's how we got started.
And when did it get started? What was the?
We started in 1998.
Okay.
It's when my friend Dr. Levi Doherty was in New York, and we had an incident in Lebanon that I'm not free to talk about today, but we had an incident in Lebanon. Okay. And during the course of our conversation, he said, well, you need to just open up a King Center. You need to do something. And it all kind of worked together. But when he saw what we were up against and what was happening, he says, okay, let's get a charter. And that was how the Martin Luther King Family Life Center became in existence in Lebanon, Pennsylvania.
So if you folks out there, if you want to learn more about what we're talking about, you can go online and search the center. But here's the website, MLKFLC, Martin Luther King Family Life Center, MLKFLC.org. All the information that you'd want to learn about, what they do, who they support, and of course, about Doc V there. She's on the website. But more importantly, right at the bottom of the screen, there's a red little button that says donate today. So please feel free to donate and support the cause. It is about helping our youth and our community provide services and folks coming who are incarcerated, coming out, helping them get started. Now, I know the phone number zip code is a Pennsylvania zip code, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yes.
But the address and the entity is registered here in Virginia Beach. Is that correct?
It is.
And just so folks know, it is located down on James Lane in Chesapeake. But again,
Jones Lane, 5246 Jones Lane. That is where we have our physical office.
Okay.
We work out of a physical office, but we have satellites in several communities in the Tidewater area. In marginal communities where they're present, doing the work and committing the service.
I want to take one of those small little exit ramps I was telling about as we chatted. So
okay.
The phone number and your roots and everything, there's a lot of Lebanon, Pennsylvania stuff on your
Yes.
website, and you've already talked about that.
Yes.
Can you tell everybody what you did in Pennsylvania for a job for a while, what your official title was? I love this story. Go ahead.
I worked for Hershey Chocolate. I was a kiss machine operator. And I made thousands, hundreds of thousands. I wrapped. I was on a wrapping machine, and I wrapped hundreds of thousands of kisses.
No,
and that was my job.
They were not hand wrapped.
No, the machine wrap. But I had to run the machine. Yeah, I had to operate it, and the machines were probably well over 100 years old. Wow. Honestly. Yeah, wow. Yeah, but I did that. That plant is demolished and no longer there. They built another plant, right. But I worked there, and I retired because I wanted to be available for international ministries.
No, absolutely. So I got to ask this one follow-up question to that. Did you ever have a Lucille Ball moment on the candy line? You know what episode I'm talking about?
Yes,
you had to have that, right? Tell me.
I didn't eat it, but the candy started. I wasn't fast enough. You've got these women that have worked all of their lives. They had this rhythm, and this candy is going. And you've got to be able to pack those back. It was piecework.
Right.
And I failed miserably, and they wouldn't let me come back to their department because the candy was running all over the floor. And it wasn't funny to them, and it wasn't funny to me because it was pressure. Sure. And I never really thought about it. But yeah, I had a Lucille Ball moment. It was fast.
That's funny.
Yes.
For those who don't know what I'm referring to, the Lucy and Ethel episode, they worked in a candy factory, and they're working the line to try to pack it, and the line just goes too fast. And now they're trying to eat them, and it was just hilarious. And I wanted to ask you that question. I didn't ask you on the phone purposely. I wanted to save that for this moment.
Yeah, I had a Lucille Ball moment. Yes, working for Hershey Chocolate. First, I worked on the before I got assigned to the kiss machine. Right. I worked on the Hershey bar on and packing that. And you have to have a rhythm, and you have to be fast because the belt doesn't stop. It was a nightmare.
And those belts are 24 hours, aren't they? The factory
from ship to ship. They'll break down for maintenance. But it's ship to ship. Yeah. They'll shut down for maybe about a half an hour as soon as the next shift comes in. Yes.
So I won't ask you what your favorite candy of all time is. We'll skip that question for this week's episode. So talk about singing. I until I saw your bio, talk about your singing background. Is it just personal desire? Did you perform on a grand stage somewhere before you started doing and applying your singing voice to your mission? Talk about your singing background.
Okay, my singing background, my foundation comes from church.
Okay.
And my aha moments came when I would travel in Northern Virginia, and I would sing. You remember there is a moment in The Great Debaters when the youth get to Harvard and they make a sound, and the acoustics, is so rich.
Right.
So I've had moments like that in huge churches. As I sang with a quartet, I sang with a group of girls, but those were my aha moments, and I learned how to work a room. That's a learned craft. I learned how to work a room years after that, So I've enjoyed, and I used to sing for a living,
Right.
literally. I would sing for a living, and I did good. But my passion for singing wasn't as great as advocating. I can sing in my sleep. I can do that without, at the drop of a dime. But I wanted to put my energies in saving families and young people, children.
Of course.
Yeah.
You got a little acapella, something you could share with my audience?
Not this morning, boss man. Not this morning, but we're working on
it. And so when you get that song on your radio at that red light, it's not a challenge for you. You could sing those tunes then that we talked about earlier in the questions.
Yes, right. yes.
Right. Author, talk to me about, talk to me about your book or books as an author.
Well, my first book was titled From Job Fair to Welfare.
Okay.
And from welfare to job fair. And what happened was I wrote a book about being on welfare and refusing to go back on welfare. There were some incidents in my life that just crashed, and I refused to go back. And so I wrote a book about it. And once I got the book, my daughter said, what are you going to do with the book? I said, I'm going to sell it. She says, no, you're not going to sell it. You're going to give it away. I said, what do you mean I'm going to give it away? She says, you're going to give it to every welfare agency in the country. And I said, well, I can't afford that. She says, you can't afford not to.
Right.
So what happened was, and I got a punchline here, I sent all the books out to as many welfare agencies that I could. And somewhere down the line, my book made it to the White House.
Wow.
And some were, whoa. And this was during the time that President Clinton had just signed the bill, the Work to Welfare Act bill. And this man called me. I don't know, maybe my information was in the book. And he said, Miss Owens, he says, I've got your book. He said, and I'd really like for you to come to DC. He said, we have everything. We've had the young people on the lawns. We've had people taking pictures, but we don't have a successor. And I said, what do you mean? He says, we don't have anybody that has success out of welfare. So I was on my way to Albuquerque, New Mexico. And he said, I'll call you back because I'd like you to be our speaker for October. And he asked if you can come to DC. And I said, yes. So when I get back home, my sister called. She said, DC called you. And during this time, we had cell phones that you had to pay for every minute. And I wouldn't call them from Albuquerque. But when I got home, the man said, Miss Owens, we got a problem, just a slight problem. He said, my boss is wanting, they think your book is good and they would like for you to be our speaker, but they're feeling sorry for Hillary. I said, feeling sorry for Hillary. They said, yeah, since Bill has been in all this trouble, they feel sorry for Hillary. I said, but Hillary ain't never been on welfare. He said, but she got a village. So that, that's a true story. Wow. I got not debunked, but I got buffed because she had a book.
Right.
But I want you to know that little book, it opened doors. It did amazing things. So it was called from job fair, from welfare to job fair.
Right on.
And we sold it out of the trunk of the car to different organizations. They would buy $1,000 worth of books at a time for the people that were on welfare that wanted to get off.
Sure.
So I let that one fizzle. Then the second book that I wrote was titled The Legacy of a Praying Mother. I went in a studio and I told my mother's testimony because people wanted to know about her. And I didn't have the time to write it, didn't know how to write it. And my third book, which is my best book today, is He Did It Once and He'll Do It Again. And it's a testimonial book. It's a book about miracles, about the supernatural. It's a book about finances, how money appeared in my account, or how people walked up to me and gave me $50,000, or how people walked up and gave us houses. That's He Did It Once and He'll Do It Again. And for the most part, whether you call it God, Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, whoever you want to call it, the blessings of God still flow. Right. And God is God. I'm not tagging anybody, but I'm tagging everybody because all of us are blessed. And some of us tap into, a wellspring that others don't. And I just shared my stories.
Right
So the
on.
book is comprised of about 40 individual testimonies about how God did it.
Gotcha. Sounds interesting. And where can people get copies of these books if they're interested, or are they on Amazon or through your website, or
They can go to my website,
okay? And that
which
website is
is VanessaMcCoyOwens.com.
there you go. Check that out. We are down to about just under 10 minutes, 7-8 minutes. So before we wrap up, I want to go back to my crazy out of the way questions a little bit more to have a little more sidebar fun and giggles with you. So I want to go back to asking this question. What is your favorite vacation that you'd like to be on? Given the fact you've traveled a lot, this may be a little difficult, but where would you like to, your bucket list vacation location would be what?
I've heard an awful lot about Paris. I don't think that I would capture the romantic emotion, but I'd love to see it. I'd love to see Paris. I'd love to see the Eiffel Tower. I'd love to walk the streets and pay $25 for a sandwich.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, I can save you some money right away. Just go to Las Vegas, go to the Paris Hotel. You'll get the same thing. So you won't have to drive cross country.
Yes.
Just don't go swimming in the Seine River, though. If you do get there,
Oh, okay.
So if you're
Okay.
following the Olympics at all, don't go swimming.
And Vegas would be my second most desired place. I've only been 4 times and I love it. And my favorite of all the things that my husband would have to pull me away from is the dancing water. The very first time I saw the dancing water, it was dancing to Lionel Richards all night long. Oh, I hollered, I screamed, I cried. It was amazing. And I love this. I love that. Yes. So they didn't have to take me to a show inside. Just let me dance with the music, with the water.
I'm so glad you said that because, I spent 27 years there. When I moved there, I kind of moved there with the eyes of a tourist in that, there's so much to do and there's this and that. But there is so much you can do that's not casino related. Like you enjoyed the outdoor entertainment of the fountains and there's all that, but you can go off the strip and go 5 to 7, 10 miles in any direction up west towards Summerlin, go down there. There's so much you can do in Las Vegas. It has nothing to do with dropping any coins anywhere. And that's really the hidden secret about Las Vegas. So
yes.
when you do plan that, you have to let me know. And my dad still lives back there. So for all I know, you and I may end up in Vegas at the same time when I go back and visit, and we'll get you some suggestions to do.
We'll make that happen.
All right. I look forward to it. What is your favorite meal of all time, top to bottom, starting with maybe an appetizer?
Probably, I am a seafood lover, and I like it particularly if it is prepared properly. I like sea crab soup.
Okay.
And I love salad. And I like a good lobster if it's cooked right. Now, listen, the real place to go in Virginia is down to Captain George's.
Yes.
And oh my God, I just don't have enough room in my body to just eat until I drop, but I love it. I love the variety. I don't know if pricing means upscale or not, but I love Captain George's. I love the array of seafood.
Captain George's is on our list. Many people I'm only out here about 7 weeks, and many people have Captain George's as a recommendation. My wife and I actually had that on our list to hit. Good morning, my buddy George. He says jumbo shrimp cocktail would be his favorite appetizer. Certainly, if you want seafood, can't go wrong anywhere really being on the beach at Virginia Beach for that. That's for darn sure. All right, a couple more questions, 2 more, and they'll get you off the hook so we can wrap up about what you do. Number 1, who is your favorite superhero? Is it Superman, or if you look in the camera, is it Batman? I'm just providing a hint.
Probably Superman.
Oh, no. Thank you for watching, everybody. That was our guest. We're going to No, I'm only kidding. Really, Superman, not Batman? I mean.
Well, Superman could do anything. Batman was a little limited, but they were both good superheroes.
All right. Only because you're a reverend, I'll let you slide with Superman around. All right. Last question, and then we'll wrap up. This is probably the really only serious question I ask about all these crazy ones. When the time comes, and I know it'll be far, far, far down the road, and of course you may have an in already, but I'll ask this anyway. When the day comes that you are standing at the pearly gates and the maitre d' is standing at the door to let you in, what is it you want to hear as you make your entry through the pearly gates?
You completed your assignment.
There you go, folks. Can't ask for a better answer than that. She is Reverend Dr. Vanessa McCoy Owen. She is the founder of the Martin Luther King Jr. Family Life Center. MLKFLC.org is the website. I'll give you like the last minute or so if you have any final message to my audience out there about what you do, what people can do to get involved in their community to make a difference. Take it away.
Wherever you are, if you would just give 2 hours a week, asking for a whole week is a lot, but if you could go to a public library or a community center and just offer your time, whether it's assisting children to the water fountain or whether it's reading to them, it all matters. Time collects. It's not because I only have 5 minutes, but if you can give a good hour or 45 minutes, normally they're asked for 45 minutes, you can read to a child. And you can go to some of our retirement homes, some of our, we call them nursing homes, rehabilitation homes. Read a book, say something nice.
Absolutely.
They may seem like they're out of touch, but if you put your hands on them and say something nice to them, you'll get a smile. That's all we want you to do is smile. Yes. So be proactive, be an advocate, and go and help somebody as they're transitioning along the way.
Absolutely. Love that message. You can also find Dr. V on Facebook. You can look her up as well. And don't forget her website, VanessaMcCoyOwens.com. Check her out. She's got her books up there. Dr. V, thank you for joining me today. When John ends the show for me back in Vegas, don't hang up. Don't disconnect. After the show, I want to chat with you for a couple of seconds afterwards. All right.
We'll be right here. Thank you.
Thank everybody for watching today. Please reshare this feed. If you missed anything or want to revisit any of the information we talked about, please make sure you go to Aaron's Hour Show or go to YouTube under that name or WWDB-TV. Share it. Get the information again. Rewatch it, because really what Dr. V is talking about is really just making a difference. One thing we can do to help everybody, whether you know it or not, you never know what this can do for someone's day. They just need a smile. They need eye contact. How you doing? Just so that they know that they matter to somebody. With that, I share my final thoughts. Be kind to everybody. Why? Because we are all we have. You are watching Aaron's Hour with Aaron Phillips, coast to coast. That does it for today. We'll see you next week right here. Watch my Facebook page for next week's show. Thank everybody for watching. See ya.